Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Stogie Geek Show. I want to remind everyone to visit our sponsors. That's right, Ocean State Cigars, oceanstatecigars.com. Makers of the J. Grotto series of cigars, Mr. Paul Joyle and Company puts out a fine line of cigars, everything from the J. Grotto Silk, which is a Connecticut, all the way to the limited. The one that we like is the Grand Corona. Fantastic cigar in the Reserva line. So that's check them out. And the Havana Club, you can go to our website, stogiegeeks.com or cigar-coop.com, print out a $5 off coupon right here in Warwick, Rhode Island. Fantastic club. Gigantic space now. They've expanded. They do private functions. They've got card night. You can have drinks. You can order food. It's a fantastic place to eat, drink, smoke, and be merry. So make sure you check them out as well. And our contest is still running live, so make sure you stay tuned for more details on our contest. We featured that on last week's episode. You have to submit us a cigar review, and we'll give more information about that as the show goes on. Right now, I want to bring on the illustrious crew of the Stogie Geeks to start talking about what we've been smoking. I calculated it out. We've got over 500 or 800? Ridiculous.
800.
800. Over 800 mini reviews on cigars on the StogieGeeks.com website. So make sure you go check that out. It is a fantastic resource.
We have too much time on our hands.
Yeah. The mini reviews are going great. I can't. We're going to break 1,000 coming up here soon, and that, I mean, to me, that's a real achievement as far as mini reviews and just telling you what we think about cigars and what we've been smoking. And we smoke everything here on the Stogie Geek Show, and we do smoke rare and limited. In our segment that will be coming up next is going to talk about how to find rare and limited cigars, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm sure Mark Jr. and Will are going to have some input on that as well. So,
Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe.
I think it's going to be a great segment.
Let's see. So, Will, why don't you get us started? I've had a sinus thing going on, so I'm going to talk about some cigars I smoked. But I'm really leaning on you guys to kind of lead this segment as my palate has been affected this week.
Understood. So I'm going to start things off with the Bold by Nish Patel. So as folks know, Nish Patel's Rocky Patel's brother. He's come up with his, what I'd say, second namesake cigar, which is the Bold by Nish Patel. The first one was the Zen, which was a box press Connecticut. This one, he goes for Connecticut broadleaf wrapper with a double binder from Connecticut and San Andreas with Nicaraguan filler. And I smoked the 6.5 by 52 Toro. Overall, I found this to be a pretty much a classic Connecticut broadleaf. I don't think it was anything innovative, but it had some very good flavors. It had those notes of espresso, dark chocolate, black cherry, and white pepper. I think when you look at the title of that cigar, the big question is it what's bold? And I think bold's going to mean different to different people. And I've heard a lot of people say this cigar really wasn't bold. And I think my take on it is it's not a nicotine bomb at all. It's going to be something that's about medium to full strength, just not overpowering. But I did find that the flavors were they were heavy flavors in terms of on the palate. So I thought it was more of a full-bodied smoke there. So I think it's not by any means it's not something that's going to be, a Viaje powerhouse or anything, but good construction, very good construction on this one. Overall, it's a nice cigar by Rocky Patel. I don't know if it's going to be I don't know how it's going to do. It's interesting to see, but it's something I'd pick up 5 of them and keep them. It's a good, nice, regular rotation smoke. A box of 21 goes for about $176, so it's not a price breaker there. 5er.
Nice. Mark Jr., over to you.
Yeah, I decided to reach back and redo the Unico L40 by Drew Estates Liga Privada. It's a Connecticut River Valley stock cut Habano wrapper, which is the wrapper from the T52 line, a Brazilian Matafina binder, and 3 different types of Nicaraguan Cuban seed. I've really had these kind of sitting around for some time now. I may have gotten these when they first came out. If not, it was shortly after. And, they'd been staring at me for a little while, so I said, what's better time than now, right? I've found these to be my second favorite of the Unico blends. The Dirty Rat being my favorite. And this one, this individual lived up to that hype. I really love the flavor of the wrapper from this T52. It's a much more consistent wrapper, I feel, than other things that they've done. The pepper and spice is awesome. The construction's always been great. This is box worthy.
What did you get for flavors? Did you recall some of the flavors you got? I get a very distinct kind of flavor from this cigar.
Well, I think it has like a nice woody flavor to it, but it has some pepper and some spice as well.
I get almost like a dark fruit, dark cherry kind of.
Interesting.
I get that more when they first came out, not so much when I smoke them after they've aged a little bit.
Yeah, this
it almost seems
a
like
little
that
bit
flavor
older. Yeah.
ages out.
I get that much more out of like the Dirty Rats than I do out of these.
Yeah.
Personally, but I know where you're coming from. This one is probably a couple years old now, so I don't think I got quite as much of that. It was more of like a woody type flavor to it.
Nice.
Where do you think that stands versus 2 years ago when it first came out? Compared to now.
I think it's different, but it's just as good. That was a cheap answer. Let me go ahead and say I probably liked them a little better when they first came out.
I thought they were a little young at the very, very beginning, but given a couple more months after that 2011 release, I thought they started to come into their own.
Yeah, I don't know if I smoked them right away or when I got them. It's hard to say. I don't think I got them immediately when they first came out.
Right.
But I really like it, but it definitely has changed over time.
Yeah, I'd say if you come across them, you got to get some.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
I smoked a Camacho Triple Maduro. This is the Robusto size. This is the newer blend of the Camacho Triple Maduro. Has that San Andreas Mexican wrapper, a Corojo Maduro binder, and a Maduro filler with Honduran, Brazilian, and Dominican fillers. And despite some construction and burn issues, I'm really impressed with this blend. And I can see Will laughing on the camera because we talked about this over via Skype this week. So that's when I was smoking it. And I found it had a very pleasant earthy flavor. And I think there's different earthy type profiles. The earth flavor that this cigar presented to me was extremely pleasant. And it balanced that with some nice dark fruit sweetness that I believe came from the wrapper, but who am I to say? I'm a big fan. I hope these construction issues can get worked out. I think it's, I'm saying fiver for now, and I think the construction issues kind of played into that. I think it could be upgraded to box worthy for me if it could burn more consistently for me. I want to try dry boxing these and maybe smoking it again because it wasn't like horrible construction. It was just like a tough kind of burn. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they dropped the price to around $9 for the Robusto size that I smoked. Now the 1118 size, I really want to try that one. That's not much more. That's listed as about $9.50 price wise, and that's a really, as we've talked about before on the show.
You love that size.
Love that size. So that size in this blend is definitely on my short list of things to smoke. But I really enjoyed the flavors that came off this cigar. Have you guys smoked the new? And I wasn't a fan of that. I mean, not to compare it to the old blend because it's a different cigar in my terms. They changed the blend, right? I wasn't a huge fan.
Paul, they did not change the blend.
I thought they did. All right, so I stand corrected.
Yeah, the Triple Maduro and the Connecticut, I was told the blends remain the same.
See, that's interesting. I didn't like some of the older Triple Maduros. Now, the one that I smoked recently was aged for a while, so maybe that, age changed the flavor profile.
But again, we could be talking different tobacco vintages. I mean, we don't know quite, the components are the same, we're told. But
they've always had San Andreas wrappers on them, Will? I feel like that's a newer.
I feel like that's newer, too. You wrote the article on it though that I referenced.
The article. I mean, the article. I was told that the Connecticut and the Triple Maduro were the same.
Okay,
interesting.
Fair enough.
Yep. We could do a little Stogie Geeks homework, and I'll stand corrected if that's not the case.
I did like I said, I smoked an older Triple Maduro a while ago, and I wasn't a big fan of it. This one I really like the flavor profile on. So.
Hey, an interesting thing, just kind of a side note, and I had this on Cigar Coop this week. Well, Flor Dominicana is actually coming out with a triple Maduro, triple Lajero cigar. It's going to a store in Great Neck, New York called Tobacco Plaza. And I'm really curious to get my hands on that, a triple Maduro, triple Lajero cigar, to see what Lido can do with that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sounds full flavored.
Yeah.
So, Will, back to you.
All right, so I'll continue the Camacho theme. And, just kind of interesting, Camacho's back. I mean, where Camacho, people are excited about Camacho again. And it's a big comeback story, I think, in the cigar industry this year. It's good because Camacho is an iconic brand. And whatever they've done this year, marketing-wise, it's really, I think, paid off for them. And I'm hearing retailers say the cigars are moving. As part of that, they actually released a new line. It's called the Camacho Blackout Limited Edition.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you have to say about this one, Will. And you are right. The Triple Maduro and the Connecticut blends did not change from Camacho. Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, tobacco is a funny thing. So we don't know what the components may be the same origins, but vintages could be different. So that could be why it's tasting different.
Mm-hmm.
The Blackout Limited Edition, I thought first before, I know we're going to talk about limited editions. I thought it was it's being released in 5 sizes in boxes of 20 with 1,000 boxes per size. That's going to come out to 100,000 cigars. So it's going to be a limited run, but there's going to be a lot.
It's a big limited, yeah.
It's a big limited run. There's going to be a lot of these. They're also calling it the 2013, so I'm wondering if there's going to be more of this Blackout line. We'll see. I thought the blend was really interesting. It was a Honduran wrapper from 2006, a Nicaraguan binder from 2009, and then a multinational filler, a Brazilian, Honduran, and Nicaragua, grown in 2003, 8, and 9, although they didn't point to the origins versus the years on that. I smoked the 6x50 Toro on that. This was a very different Camacho I had, and it had a lot of dark chocolate earth. It had some red pepper and a little citrus, and it was great. The back 9, which for new folks listening is kind of what we refer to as how the last stages of the cigar. It got harsh, and I smoked a couple of these, and each time it got a little harsh there, and that was the one thing that I thought was kind of the negative on that. The strength and body are very well balanced with each other, so they complement each other nice. They start out medium to full, and it's going to go full on both of those. So it's one of these bold standard cigars, and it will definitely sneak up on you in the end. The burn and draw were fine, but the ash was a little bit loose. Was my experience with it. I put a note in the feed. The quote says from Cess Humidor, was a good friend of mine. It's an entertaining smoke. It kept me interested for enough of that. I have it as a try one. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe if that back 9 settles down a bit, it could go to a 5er in my book. But right now, I'm going to keep it as a try one.
Excellent.
Fair enough.
Mark Jr., back to you.
Yeah, the next one is an interesting smoke, and one of my questions has been answered about it already. It's a Liga Privada number 9 Corona. Now, I was going through my humidor, cleaning up some stuff, and this one fell through the back into the bottom of my humidor, and I was like, where the hell did this thing come from?
You had no idea when it came from when you smoked it.
No, I didn't. I had no idea where it came from, and it's, not common for me. I tend to be a little anal when it comes to that stuff. But I saw it, and I was like, damn, I got to smoke that thing. So, needless to say, I'm glad I did. This is probably the best number 9 that I've ever had. It was the perfect size, really like the size of a dirty rat, which is really really a great size. I thought that it had all of like that number 9 like flavors that I really did used to love, but it was nice and concentrated. It was nice and it had some dark chocolate, some black pepper. It also had a little bit of that dark fruit flavor that we were just talking about. This cigar is box worthy, and it is a damn shame that you can't buy these, regularly. I don't know. Will can talk more about that, but it's really, really good. So,
Yeah, and just so folks know, they technically were calling this the Liga Privada #9 Pequeño, and they were playing around with tweaking some of the Liga Privada blends, and they ended up tweaking it into a Dirty Rat size. And Steve Saka brought a bunch of these to IPCPR last year, and he was just handing them out in the booths, and I had the same reaction as you, Mark Jr. I just love that cigar, and he actually was kind enough. He sent some to us. And the interesting thing I thought about that was, I asked him, Steve, this is a home run, but he felt at the time it was going to compete too much with Dirty Rat for whatever reason, maybe just having another Corona out there. So they opted not to release it for whatever reason. And so it's one of these kind of unreleased blends, but um, it it's really good, and I may have a few of those. We may have to put a contest for a couple of those out there at some point. I think I'll have to think of that because I have a couple more of those lying around. It's a really good cigar.
It would really be nice for some of our listeners to get to try them. They're
I,
really
I,
good.
I agree.
Yeah, that cigar is definitely special. I smoked a Tatuaje 10th anniversary Noea, and uh, this size from Tatuaje in this particular blend. There's quite a few different ones actually. There's a couple of releases of the Noea Reserva, right? I want to say 3, but I'm probably wrong there. That Noea Reserva was released in different points in time. If you buy the Noeas in the regular with the brown label, we call them. Though I have some of those that were aged, those are really good. Even newer Noeas are good, and then you have this 10th anniversary, and this is just a great size, great cigar. For me, this one was just okay. The flavors were good. It had nice spice, but as I smoked the different sizes in this 10th anniversary blend, specifically the little double perfecto that I reviewed last week.
Bel Ancre.
Yeah, this Noea is not as good as some of those other sizes in this 10th anniversary blend, which I'm convinced is a different blend. I'll say it every week here on the show. I'm convinced it's a different blend. I smoked enough of this particular, just blends and reserves.
Smoked enough brown labels to choke a donkey.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm labeling this one a 5er. Maybe something I need to revisit, and the rating might change. But when I smoked this one, it was a 5er to me. It didn't. The flavors didn't develop. It was almost like the smaller size didn't allow for enough time for those kind of flavors to develop, and even the slightly larger sizes, like even a Robusto in that Perfecto size, did much better for me.
I think you're crazy.
I know you do.
To be honest,
because I think you bought a box of these, right? Maybe
yeah.
2 boxes.
I bought a lot of them. I got this really awesome milk chocolate flavor on the ones that I was smoking, and it was immediately I went right out and bought a box,
Nice.
immediately, and I think this is right up there with the Noea Reserva. To be honest with you, very different cigar, but I really really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so you got.
I think I might have rated mine box worthy, maybe even fight Chuck Norris. I don't remember exactly, but it was way up there.
You got to try this 10th anniversary blend.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
All the sizes really have been good. I think the Havana Cazadores, it's like a Lonsdale size.
Yeah.
That size is friggin' awesome too. Really, really good. The Bel Ancre one I totally agree with you on that. That's really,
that
really good.
Awesome.
I tried the Especiales, the Lancero.
Yeah.
Fantastic,
The TAA is something special. The Grand Cheshire.
Really, yeah, I haven't tried that.
I haven't tried that one either.
That's a really and it's different. It's just got a different taste to it.
Nice. Will, back to you.
All right, so Viaje Full Moon.
Yes, I saw these were released. I'm glad you smoked one because I want to hear about it.
I actually smoked a few of these. So here's the deal. It's Andre Farkas with Viaje actually normally likes to have an aura of mystery. He really kept these a secret. He was hinting that there was going to be something for Halloween, but until these cigars arrived at the retailers, no one even knew what the cigar looks like. He did throw out some hints of the packaging. But what it turned out to be was a 5x58 Gordo it's a Nicaraguan Puro with a Corojo wrapper. So here's the deal. We've talked about Viaje a lot, and one of the big criticisms of Viaje is the cigars a lot of times are not ready, and I think it's a fair criticism we can make certainly. But we also know that Viaje's done some very good stuff, and we know what the potential is. This one is very good. This is ready for prime time. I smoked several of these, and I was really impressed right out of the gate. A lot of complexity with the cigar. It had notes of pepper, wood, natural tobacco. It had a little bit of an orange citrus, but it had a nice creaminess to it. It's not an Andre Farkas, I'm going to wow you with nicotine and strength here. It's medium strength, but full bodied. And the burn and draw were excellent. Really good, tight ash. Had a little resistance on that drawer, which I normally like. So it wasn't a tight drawer. If you can find a box of these or a bundle, they do have bundles that they're using to refill the retailer boxes. It's box worthy. This is Andre's best work in a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Price point's a little high. It's an 1140 cigar, but I think compared to some of the other VI cigars, price point, I think you're going to get your money's worth from it.
Mark Jr., over to you. As I choke on the cold draw from my Nika Rustica.
So this may have contributed to why I was not feeling so well last week. When I did a training for work in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which if you've ever been there, you'll understand where I'm coming from. But if you haven't been there, it's really, truly a hotbed of humanity. It's, they have fine dining by the way of, Applebee's and Chili's and things of that nature. There's, I think their main industry at this point is trucking depots.
They have a car auction out there too, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yep.
It's like a out of the way part of Pennsyltucky, as some people from Pennsylvania can relate to that term. So anyway, I had smoked a 2009 release of the Regios Reserva. It was given to me by a listener, ATL. We had done a little trade, and brought it with me because I thought it might be something I wanted to revisit because I wasn't super pleased with the new 2013, the most recent Regios Reserva, and interestingly enough, I smoked this cigar outside of the Holiday Inn that we were staying in the middle of the night. It was as cold as I've ever bared to smoke a cigar, but a great company, two new guys that I had met and kind of hit it off with a little bit. We were sitting on luggage carts outside of the hotel because they didn't even have benches there. It was crazy. Probably looked ridiculous to anyone that saw us, But this cigar is light years better than the newest release. Light years better. It had all of the positive qualities that the Noella Reserva has, that nice dark chocolate flavor, the spice, all that kind of stuff, but more in that Robusto format. So it had more smoke coming through it. It was just really a fantastic smoke. If you can find any of these 29s in this Regio Reserva, I highly recommend it. It's a really, really good smoke.
And what was this one again?
A Regios Reserva. I said I would be willing to fight Chuck Norris for this cigar again. It's a Regios Reserva from 2009. Yeah, okay. The last time that these Reservas came out. So
we've talked about this year's release, and I think we've all kind of agreed it didn't stand up versus the Noellas. But do you think that this year's may eventually age and reach the point?
No, I don't. I don't think that it has. I agree. To me, I just don't think that it has it. Where this cigar clearly had it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
That will be back to me. Hold on, I lost my place here. No, it looks like some of my stuff was not here. Will, why don't you go again while I find my...
Yeah, sure thing. So I did kind of a little different thing this week. I went to the Ezra Zion Eminence, which we smoked on the show 2 episodes ago when we had the Ezra Zion boys on. And I kind of went and I called it a partial vertical. So I did I actually smoked the Robusto again, which we smoked on the show, as well as the Corona size and the box press Exquisito, which is basically a box press Toro. This is just to recap. It was a San Andreas Maduro with Nicaraguan filler and Nicaraguan binder. It was Ezra Zion's first non-Nicaraguan Puro, and I really liked when we had this on the show. And when I went back and smoked these again, I really, really like this. Is a home run by Ezra Zion. If I had to compare the three sizes, and a lot of people may say Corona. Actually, I thought the Corona came in third of the three sizes. I preferred the Robusto the best on that. It had a rich chocolate, it had a little bit of cocoa powder. Went back and forth between cocoa powder and rich chocolate. It had some pepper. It had some nice cream. Medium to full bodied, medium strength. I love the Robusto. The Exquisito I thought was very similar. The difference I thought was it was a little bit of this black cherry component I got on that. And I also thought that had a little more strength towards the end. The Corona I thought had the most spice. So I thought the Corona was actually throwing up a more spice than I expected from that, which is why I don't mind a cigar with spice, but I think with this blend, if the spice is amped down a little more, I prefer it. Overall, I had the box worthy for the Robusto and the box press Exquisito, and I box split for the Corona. This is a really good core line that's been released this year. That's kind of going under the radar. I think this cigar is going to have a lot of noise at the end of the year on a lot of people's cigar deal lists.
Yeah, I really like the Ezra Zion we smoked on the show.
Yeah, and the more I smoking it on a clean palate, you're really gonna be wowed by it.
Excellent. I did some Cien Años smoking. Of course, we've talked about this particular blend a lot. This is the re-release that came out this year, or the 2012 re-release, I should say. So Lara, of course, turned 100 years in 2003, and they created a limited run of 400,000 cigars, and those were released between 2003 and 2006. And again, we've talked about those a lot. And in 2012, they released the 100 Años again in the Robusto, Churchill, and Bellicoso sizes. And 20,000 cigars of each size were produced. And this is the one where the retailers had to buy so many boxes of the Robusto, Churchill, Bellicoso, and then they also got a box of that very special Maduro we talked about. So I smoked the Bellicoso size in the 2012 re-release and thought it was really good. And these are smoking awesome right now. I mean, when they first came out in 2012, I was like, yeah, these are good. They kind of feels like they need a little time. But just the right amount of spice when you light them up. It mellows out into that graham cracker toasty flavor, coupled with some nice cedar notes. Whatever they did to recreate this wrapper, it's not the same wrapper from what I read. I don't know. I referenced the Cigar Aficionado link in there. Will, I don't know if you have any insight as to where they got the tobacco for this re-release. But a year on this re-release cigar is perfect. They're smoking fantastic right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea on that. They may have, they have a huge factory, so who knows if they had some squirreled away.
Yeah, so it says, let's see. I thought they said something about what the wrapper would be doing. But thanks to some, so they say, this is it. Thanks to some creative blending and exceedingly good wrap relief, they brought back the 100 Años line. So they're kind of cagey about what
actually happened.
What actually happened with that? Yeah, it is pretty similar to the original one, I have to say, but you can tell it's not quite the same, but still very, very good.
This was the best size of the re-release, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I smoked the Robusto. I did not smoke the Churchill.
I did.
I liked the Bellicoso better than the Robusto, but I haven't smoked the Robusto lately either. So
yeah, I thought this was the best size of the re-release. Personally, I think they missed the boat when they did not re-release the Lancero, though.
And they had a Preferido that they didn't re-release either.
And a Corona.
Mm-hmm. And they did a Corona.
Yep.
We were buying those up when they were
snatching them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder though if that just gives them something to do in the future.
Yeah.
So maybe
It could be.
It could be I don't know. I didn't ask Barry Stein any specifics on it. I'm just kind of speculating and guessing here.
Mm.
But maybe they could do something with that. It gives them some flexibility rather than just kind of come out with the whole gamut at once.
Mark Jr., back to you.
I smoked a La Pelina Family Series Allison. It has the second banded, it says Lajero on it. It's a 6.5 by 52 Belicoso, Ecuadorian wrapper, Costa Rica binder, filler from Nicaraguan and Honduras. I bought this cigar some time ago. Kind of forgotten everything that was told to me about it at the time, so I had to do a little digging. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff out there about it, so I linked to the cigarnut.com in my show notes, so you can check out where I got most of my information from. I thought the smoke was pretty mild in flavor, maybe mild plus, maybe slightly short of medium. Had some nice flavors, had a nice bready quality and some creaminess. It had a slight spice in the middle third. I wrote that I think if you're a fan of Davidoff or Avo, then you'll definitely like this cigar. And if that's your profile, it's probably a fiver. Now, Will said he wanted to talk to me a little bit more about this cigar when I had mentioned it. So,
yeah. So this was a top 10 cigar for me in 2010.
Is that when this came out? Was 2010?
It's 2010, and you're right on the money in terms of what that was. I thought it had some interesting blackberry sweetness at the time on that. I remember it real well. The one thing I've noticed about those cigars is the consistency did not continue. So I don't know, when they first came out, I thought home run, but I've noticed, and I can't say exactly when you ended up acquiring it.
It was definitely this year.
Something consistency wise has changed. Is all I can say. And La Polina is discontinuing that. It's part of their family series. La Polina is discontinuing that, so I think that kind of says something.
They're discontinuing the family series or this size?
The family series. Basically, what's left is what I was told.
Okay.
At IPCPRs, but that was a top 10 cigar. It was no longer a top 10 cigar as I, gone on past 2010. So something is different or changed. I can't, I felt there was a consistency issue with that cigar.
Yeah, I could definitely firmly say that this definitely would not land on any of my top 10s.
It would not anymore, but when it came out, I thought it was something special.
Fair enough.
In fact, I was at a Bill Paley event, and I ran out to the ATM to buy a box of those.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's how. But it was, again, it's in that Avo Davidoff line, and at the time, like I said, it was really. And I'm not even a Bellicoso guy, and I love that. But whatever it is, when I acquired ones afterwards, it just did not live up to when I originally got those. Because I got them when they first just hit the market.
You know what's interesting too is La Pelina has a reputation of making very beautiful cigars, right? Not a lot of veins. The seams are always well done, And this cigar didn't really have that, to be honest with you. It had this big gnarly vein down the side. If you look at my picture, you can kind of see it. It's like the shadows casted against it, so you can. It's like very prominent with the light on it. And
your pictures are very nice.
You
by
can
the way.
see that up at the top. Thank you. The seam is a little loose at the top. It just seems sloppy for a La Pelina cigar, in my opinion.
It's, what factory it's coming out of?
No.
Raycliffe.
Interesting.
Yep.
A Stogie Santa favorite.
Yeah. I wish he was
house
here.
favorite.
We might.
Will, back to you.
All right, I went back for another smoke of the week we had, and we smoked this on episode 69. It was the Grand Empire Reserve Petite Lancero. Now, the interesting thing about that, it was another one of those cigars I had never smoked on a clean palate. I had one at IPCPR, I had one on the show, and it was not my first smoke of the day. So I really wanted to smoke these on a clean palate, and I was really impressed with those cigars, how well flavored they were when my palate was somewhat shot. And it was really great to have this on a clean palate because I thought it was just as good, if not better. It's a Nicaraguan Puro with a Nicaraguan Maduro wrapper. This is Antonio's limited edition, so he only did 250 boxes of 10 of it. if you're a Lance, if you embrace Lanceros and petite Lanceros, you're gonna really like this cigar. It's coffee, pepper, natural tobacco, a little bit of citrus, very well balanced. I mean, I just think the flavors come together real well. It's a medium to full, pretty much in strength and body. Construction, I thought was great. It's a box-worthy cigar in my book, especially since it's boxes of 10 and it's somewhat limited. It's one I want to get and kind of hold on to. I'm kind of hoping he keeps it limited because it will keep it special. You know, as much as sometimes we want to keep getting these, I think there's always something for a little bit of forbidden fruit by having it limited.
Yeah, I thought this had a really fantastic flavor profile in the one that I had the opportunity to smoke.
It's the best. In those Grand Empire Reserves, I smoked through all the cigars. They all have a different story to tell in terms of they're all very different, even though it's the same blend. That one stands at the top.
Mm. I didn't put it in the show notes, but I went back and I smoked a Diamond Crown Maximus Robusto, and I really liked it. Actually, I had a little bit of a cold. It took like 3 days off smoking. This was the first cigar that I lit up in the morning, actually, and thinking it would have a little more punch, and I was pleasantly surprised. The flavors of this cigar were fantastic, and I don't know if it's because I took a kind of a break from smoking for a little while, and this just happened to be the first cigar that I lit up. But I really liked it. I would say it's a box split in my book. It is got a mild kind of body to it, like it's not really in your face, but it's got a nice full flavor profile. And I'd say out of all the Diamond Crown Maximus cigars I smoked, I like this Robusto size the best. And Mark Jr., I know you're a Maximus kind of fan, and you had reviewed the Robusto on a previous show and reviewed it very favorably. These are not inexpensive cigars, but
No,
I think
quite expensive.
I think there's some you keep in your humidor. I think there's the Robusto size for me was definitely the belle of the
They
ball.
age really well, like really, really well. They are pricey, and there are some people out there that think it's not worth it. I tend to think they are a little worth it. I don't know how many of them I keep around, but
Right.
I would keep a few of them around for sure.
Will, have you done a lot of the Diamond Crown Maximus line or anything in that?
You know, I haven't actually. I've done the Julius Caesars from Diamond Crown. I just haven't got most of the Maximuses. They're a little more. They don't usually have they're not my profile, so to speak. They're very well made cigars. I probably should revisit one at some point.
Yeah, I thought I always think it's nice to go back to regular production cigars after you've been smoking a lot of new stuff or some limited stuff. Go back and smoke some of the regular
I
production
agree.
stuff, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
Mark Jr.
All right, my final cigar for the week is the Christoph 685 Woodlawn Perfecto.
And I see that Jim Beam in the back.
The new Jim Beam signature.
It's an 86 proof, 12-year bourbon.
No, that's the other one. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That is not the 12-year. But back there is the sherry cask.
Okay.
It is also I think it's the same proof, and I think it's aged 12 years, but it's finished in a Spanish sherry cask.
So I got the one. Maybe I did get that one.
It has a red. The little piece of paper at the bottom is red. The other one is black.
I'll have to check which one I got. I got one of those two based on your recommendation.
Pretty awesome for the price point.
I made some old fashions with it.
Pretty awesome for the price point.
Awesome. Yeah, for
Totally
$40
agree.
a bottle. Yeah.
No, 40?
Maybe
31.
Really?
$31 a bottle.
Then that's what I paid because we got it from the same store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
And very, very, I thought pretty awesome.
Nice.
I'll reiterate that again.
And you drank it like neat with a cigar?
I had it with no, I think I put a cube in it.
Yeah. Okay.
One cube. Yeah, it's a little harsh to be drinking, neat, but it's
Okay.
with a cube it mellows it out a little, rounds it out a little bit, and I thought it was quite good.
Nice.
I like the limited Jim Beam stuff.
Yeah,
I think they do a
yeah.
pretty good job. To be honest
It was
with
good
you.
for that price. Absolutely.
Yeah. So back to the cigar. This is part of the new Christoph rebranding. and it's a limited. It's a Perfecto 6.5 by 60. It has a Brazilian Cubra wrapper, a Brazilian binder, and a Nicaraguan and Dominican Habano filler. I was really impressed with the packaging and the band on this cigar. I thought it
It
was
looks nice. Yeah, it's different from all the Christophs I've seen.
yeah. All of the banding now is completely different. They revamped it. It's a little more eye catching. I found the other stuff to be kind of bland and anyway, I thought the whole brand of Christoph was getting a little stale. To be honest,
Yep.
it was So I think this was probably a welcome change for that brand. I have to say that this was a pretty good cigar and better than most Christoph stuff that I've smoked in the past. I don't know anything about that Brazilian Cubra wrapper. That is a term that I have never heard before this. So,
Excuse me.
as far as I know, that this is the first cigar I've smoked with it. It had nice woody flavors. It had a slight spice and pepper. The only real drawback that I had to it was that it left my mouth a little dry, which it can be troublesome to me at least. It tends to lead to me drinking more bourbon. Not that I need any help, but I put it as a try one. I think, yeah, I put it as a try one. You may really, really like it. For those people that are out there that don't mind that dryness quite as much, I think you might really like it a lot, and it might be more of a fiver for you. But it is limited at 2,000 boxes of 10, so it's pretty, it's not the smallest limited I've ever heard of, but it's, pretty small release, and I recommend giving it a try.
Nice.
Yeah, Mark, we talked a little last week. Actually, the Cubra wrapper came up specifically with Christoph because I smoked the Sentido, which is one of the Galerones, which uses it. We had an interesting discussion on that because most of the Cubra wrapper comes from PDR cigars. They tend to have the hold on the market with that.
Okay.
Adam, one of our listeners, did point out that there's an EP Carrillo that went to Cigar International that's also using it. But what you tend to see is with that Cubra wrapper, Abe Flores has the market on that, and he's using it on a lot of blends right now.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yep.
Nice.
I don't smoke a lot of PDR stuff, so that would make a good. That would be reasonable as to why I haven't.
Yeah, Adam actually he did some nice research on that, and I thought it was exclusive to PDR, and then we found this EP Carrillo that was a retail exclusive that was using it. So
Is that the short run that was exclusive to Cigars International?
Yes.
Yeah, we smoked that on the show actually. That's actually a really good cigar.
The vintage?
Yeah, the vintage. Yep.
The short run vintage.
Yeah, that's the one where the last third wasn't so great, but the first two thirds were
we smoked 6x60s.
We smoked 6x60s in that blend. I haven't smoked any other sizes.
It started out phenomenal. I wonder if the smaller sizes were better.
We should buy some.
I agree.
Yep. Will, back to you.
I smoked the new Racist Cubanas 1941 by Alec Bradley, and it's kind of an interesting thing about this. It's a cigar that it's being touted as a collaboration between Racist Cubanas and Alec Bradley uses that factory a lot. It wasn't quite clear to me if it's a cigar that's an Alec Bradley brand or if it's something they're kind of partnering and distributing. I think it's somewhere in between, but it's meant to be a cigar to kind of be a tribute to the Racist Cubanas factory. It's got an interesting blend. It's a Honduran wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Honduran and Nicaraguan filler, and I smoked the 5 1/4 by 52 Robusto. The 1941 comes from the name of the person who runs the factory the year he was born, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name here because I'll butcher it, but it's in the speed. I was surprised by this cigar being a lot of Honduran in it. It threw up a lot of sweetness, natural tobaccos and cherry sweetness. It did balance nicely because it had some pepper and some Honduran earth notes to it. The pepper kind of really lingered on my tongue too with this one. Full-bodied flavors. I mean, the sweetness. There's a lot of sweetness with this one. Starts out medium strength, kind of inches its way up to medium to full. Good burn and draw. Um, Worthy of a fiver. I think I'm curious. This is one of the cigars I want to smoke in about 6 months and see where it is, because I think it's got some potential to be a possible box split, but I'm not ready to say that yet. But was impressed. Now I had smoked one of these at the show and I didn't think it was ready, but this one I thought now is definitely coming into form right now.
Have you guys smoked the Nica Rustica from True Estate?
I have not yet. No.
I have.
So
Not surprising.
I'll give my. So true. I'll give my assessment, and I want to hear what Will thought of it. As Stogie Santa was smoking it on, I think, the last show or the show before, it does produce a lot of smoke. Mark Jr. is experiencing that right now, right?
Sure.
It smokes the exhaust fans right above your head. So, but it's got this sweetness. It's almost an overwhelming sweetness that comes from it, and I can't place what family of sweetness that it's in, but it's a very predominant flavor, and it's really good. It's very different from a lot of things that I've smoked recently, and anytime a cigar presents such a different flavor profile, I tend to rate it a little higher because it's something that I can buy and have in my humidor and be able to go to and experience a much different flavor profile. And to me, the striking flavor is that sweetness that comes off it, very smooth. Almost like a very heavy kind of sweetness. Will, what was your assessment of the Nica Rustica?
I don't know if I'm quite thinking it was a very sweet cigar. There was sweetness to it. I had a lot of coffee flavors with some pepper. I'll say this: the first 2/3 of that cigar were phenomenal, and no exaggeration about the smoke. When I smoked it, I pinged Stogie Sanders, and I couldn't believe the amount of smoke this thing was throwing up.
I'm just about, I'm getting through the first third now, and it's really good.
Now, I thought it ran out of gas in the back nine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it got very earthy. So I'm kind of still going through some of these for review, but that's kind of what my initial take is. But it's one of those cigars, again, for $6.95. Stogie Sander and I were going back and forth. He kind of felt the same as I did on the back nine. It's still a good value. It's still a very good cigar. It's not.
Yeah, I pick up some subtle coffee, but it's almost like coffee when you have with a lot of cream and sugar in it.
Maybe that's the best way to put it. Yeah, like I said, there was sweetness on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you got one more cigar here?
Yeah.
One or two more? One more.
One more. So, and we're talking about PDR, so it's kind of a good segue. I smoked the AFR 75 in the Sublime size. So this is a San Andreas Maduro wrapper with the binder and filler is not kind of differentiated. They just say Nicaraguan Criollo, Connecticut Broadleaf, and Dominican. It's a 5x56. Now, what I've noticed with PDR Cigars has been doing the last couple of years is they've been going to the small batch mode for Abe Flores' own stuff, and it seems like he's making more core line stuff for other people, and his focus seems to be with his own brand has been around this small batch mode. So this is something that they're releasing 500 boxes per size right now. It's intended to be a premium offering by the company. It's got a very high price point for PDR, $14.75 for that size. But I thought it was a great cigar. It had a very Maduro-like profile of chocolate, some cocoa, earth, pepper. Had a little bit of floral notes at the beginning. Very well balanced, all those flavors. Medium to full strength, medium to full body. So I thought it was one of the best cigars I've had from PDR. Now, I put a little thing in the Stogie feed on this. I happened to smoke this cigar a year ago. Abe Flores gave me a prototype of it, and it was in a smaller ring gauge. Now, this line is very focused on big ring gauge. It's 56 and up, and he had given me a prototype, and I think it was like a 48, and I loved it. And I saw Abe at the show, and I just was talking to him. I said, "Hey, Abe, I loved it, but you had a home run with that 48 ring gauge." And he proceeds to pull out one of those in a Lonsdale. And I said, "Oh, so you got a Lonsdale?" And he said, "Nope." He goes, "This was my personal blend." He goes, "I'm not giving this one up." So this is one of those cigars I can tell you, I wish they would release it in the smaller ring gauge because it is a home run in that smaller ring gauge. but it's box worthy right now for what's on the market. It's a premium price point, but if you want a really nice, and I'll tell you, the construction was impeccable on this thing. And I've had some issues from time to time with some of the PDR core line stuff, but this was really a nice cigar. Just the price point's high.
Well, what did you light up?
I went back and revisited a core line that it's the CAO La Traviata.
Interesting.
Yeah, which this was one of my top cigars a few years ago, and it's one of those cigars I kind of forget about from time to time, but I really always liked the original La Traviata blend. That's one of CAO's best.
I agree. When those first came out, I smoked the hell out of them. Like
the Maduro came out, but the Maduro didn't quite match up to the Ecuadorian Habano Natural, I thought.
I agree with that statement as well.
Now,
when those first came out, I smoked the hell out of them.
Now, they came out with two variations of the La Traviata for Christmas. There's the Angry Santa and the Evil Snowman, which are tweaked blends.
We don't like it. We don't like it when Angry Santa comes out.
Angry Santa.
Bad Santa.
We'll have to get one to Soggy Santa. They just came into my local shop, Union Cigar, so I'm going to be making my way through. I smoked the Evil Snowman, which is the blend variation of the Maduro. I don't think it quite stood up to the original Maduro, but it's still a nice cigar.
Nice. CAO was a brand that I smoked a lot in the beginning that I don't smoke a lot anymore of.
I still have
a lot of places around here that carry.
And I still have a ton of those CAO Sopranos.
Yeah, those were good.
That's a great cigar.
And I thought the Brasilia was a good one too.
I reviewed the CAO Sopranos on the show on multiple occasions. I haven't smoked one in a while, maybe a year, so I probably should smoke some of those different sizes.
I thought they did good with the concert, and I thought they did even better with the flathead to some extent. I think they've done some. I think when they got acquired by General, they came out with the Osa, and I thought it was a huge miss for them out of the gate.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I read a lot of reviews about the Osa. They were kind of all over the map.
They were all over the map. I was not in the favorable camp. I just thought it was a miss. And I thought they got behind the eight ball a lot because of it. And it was a nice packaging, and it may be a cigar for some people, just didn't wow me.
Mark Jr., what did you light up? I see it now. I'll let you describe it.
I lit up one of those Herrera Esteli short Coronas. We got them at that event down at the local.
When we met Willie Herrera?
Yeah, exactly. And I was not the biggest fan of these cigars going into that, but I had never had this size before. I'd only had the Lonsdale size before. Stogie Santa talked me into buying a box. Willie did a nice job. He signed it up. He did a nice thing with it, and so I was glad that I bought it at the time, but I started I can't stop smoking these things, dude. I think they're friggin' awesome. Nice. I do. I think it's a little amped up. I think it's a little bit spicier. It's got another element to it, but it's got a nice toastiness. It's got some creaminess to it. I really like this cigar. Nice. I really, really like this cigar.
There's a lot of Willie Herrera's got. There's a lot of test blends floating around right now with Willie Herrera's stuff, and he was in Charlotte this week.
Did I send you one?
You sent me one.
I did. Yeah, that was the one with the he didn't want the band to be publicized because it's not the final band. I haven't smoked mine yet.
Neither have I.
Yeah, he had one today that was labeled Mexican, but wouldn't tell me much about it. But so, I've seen that. He's got his box press Maduros floating around. There's a few test blends. I have one actually for you guys. I got to send up to you guys as well. Another one. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more out of Willie Herrera in the next couple of months. I think he's going to some of these blends are going to make it to the surface. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
Well, I welcome it after this Herrera Esteli, man. It didn't, like I said, it didn't start out that great for me, and maybe it was just the size, but I love this short Corona. I think it's a really good smoke.
Nice. Alrighty, with that, we're going to take a very short break, come back, and talk about how to find these rare and limited cigars. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.